Missions Network, and he works as director of he has worked as director of Network Leader Development and Vision Synergy, and he currently serves on the board of React Services. And Jose is a great guy. I think you'll really enjoy him this morning, but also he brings a lot of wisdom and a lot of experience. He's from Guatemala, and he lives in this area in actually Waxahachie, which is where we are, kind of outside that. And his wife's Laura, and they've been married 22 years, and they have 4 kids. So Jose, we really are appreciative of you coming and sharing your experience with us this morning. So we just welcome you.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning. Wait for the TV thing.
I'm gonna wear you up. Can you hear him?
Can you hear me?
Yeah?
All right.
Thank you so much.
Buenos días, hermanos. Que Dios les bendiga. Good morning, brothers and sisters. God bless you. It's a privilege to be here. It's a little strange to just kind of drop in the middle of your meeting, but I appreciate the invitation, and I hope that our time together will be not only productive and profitable, but also a blessing and an encouragement to each of you. I'm just going to check on time. Do I have an hour, or should I keep it? Okay. Okay. How are we doing? Oh, look. You can watch the news.
Yeah, don't look at this, I'm just trying to sort it out.
I don't need it straight away, but, I will soon. Okay.
And is his volume okay for everybody? Can you hear him?
We can.
Timo, can you hear him when he's speaking? Don't do that.
I can hear you.
Yeah, okay.
I can't hear you.
There you go. All right. Okay. All right, I don't have a whole PowerPoint. Most of what we're going to do this hour is going to be talking with each other and trying to discover together some of the things that you guys want to learn and already know about partnering. So the topic for this morning is, why is partnership important? Right? So I'm assuming that because you are already here, that it is important. So is that something that we can just get out of the way? Partnering is important to you? Yes? Okay. So that's a good reason for why is it important, because it's important to you and the work that you do where the Lord is leading you. But we're going to take a look at some of the things that we have learned together and some of the things that we as IPA, International Partnering Associates, have learned together about why partnering is important. So I want you to start by just kind of imagining a situation, and I'm sure you've been there, but you are in your city or your region, a group of Christian leaders meet once a month for fellowship or prayer or something. They meet once a month. And you meet with them. They enjoy the fellowship, but they are actually resistant to the idea of working together. So these are Christian leaders that meet. It's not working. Here. I think it has to go down. Híjole. Source. This may not work. Okay. This doesn't work.
Yeah, just don't talk about it.
Okay, I have to tell you a story because I'm all about stories. But in IPA, we don't really use a lot of technology because stuff like this happens. So about 10 years ago, I went in a church in El Salvador giving a mobilization talking about missions and Bible translation, and there's a thunderstorm and the power went out. So yeah, I had videos and I had slides and everything for a 2-hour class. And it started raining. So the power was out, there's no sound. There's a church, about 300 people in the church. And it's a tin roof. So all you hear is so everybody, the pastors got everyone together and sat on the floor in front of where I was, and they had candles. And I had to do the whole presentation from memory because there's no, so what I did is I switched and I started telling stories. Anyway, so because we never know what the technology is, we always have a plan B. But this is, like I said, this is mostly about us talking together. So let's imagine again, there's a group of Christian leaders in your city that meet once a month. They enjoy the fellowship, but they're very resistant to doing more than, and actually working together. But they did agree to come together and talk about the importance of collaboration, of working together. And they invite you to come and explain this to them, why it's important for them to work together. Okay? So I'm going to have you just talk to each other in your groups. You can do just the person next to you for now, so we can have a little more time. So what would you say to them if you had, say, 15 minutes to kind of make the case that working together for them is important to reach their city? What would you say to them? Just talk to the person next to you and say, or maybe you have been already in a situation like that. What did you say to them? I'll give you about 5 minutes. I have one of these at home, which is not quite as big. Thank you. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Fact that you know what you're doing. They might honestly, because this is sending out what we might have to do is literally show what you just did, so she knows that, or I know how to do it.
You can get batteries too. Okay, start wrapping it up. Okay, guys, let's hear some of the things that you share with each other. Don't worry, we'll have more time to continue this conversation. All right, let's pause for a second. No, this is good. I'm glad that you guys immediately got into a good conversation. That's a good sign. So we'll come back to this. Yeah, you're already partnering. So anybody who wants to share maybe very briefly what you heard from the other person, not what you said, but what you heard from the other people that you talked to.
Matthew 24:14.
and then, and then.
Speak up.
Then, I mean, we have to do these things, and then it will. If we combine our forces, it'll be faster.
Okay. All right. Something else?
So I appreciate what one person said in our group, which is, sometimes people come in with fears and hesitancy about partnership, maybe because of past experiences. So how do you get that on the table, talk through it, and pray over it?
Okay. Good. The history or whatever things happen in the past on the table and talk. Okay. What did you tell the leaders, or what would you tell those leaders? Anybody else? Come on, guys. There was a lot of conversation. I want to hear it.
I loved her comment about God's a bodybuilder, and we were thinking about all the meanings of that, and that's what He's about, and we want to be about what He's about.
Okay. You want to be about what God is about, bodybuilding. Okay. Anything else? I'm going to start calling on you.
One person said, the task is too big to not.
Okay. It's too much to do, not to collaborate. Yes. How about this table right here? You seem very excited when you were talking, so we want to share your goodness. Anybody? Liz, they're being really shy. Is it because they don't know me yet? Vitaly?
So it's about resources, it's about common vision, it's about common plans maybe. So we wouldn't be here if we wouldn't see any kind of possibilities for us to share our resources and to get with others' resources. So I would say that about the possibilities how we can fulfill the needs of each other and challenges each other within one group.
So it's resources, meeting the need,
And
sharing the vision.
Showing them that they are facing the challenges and they couldn't overall them by themselves.
Yeah.
They help each other.
Okay. Anyone else? How about that table back there?
It's about sharing expertise and giving it away, empowering others.
Okay. Giving it away. Anything else that hasn't been mentioned before I go on? Okay, so let's talk a little bit, and you're going to go back to your groups in a little bit to do this, but let's think about some of the responses that were shared and some of the ones you heard on your table. So what are some of the assumptions that we made about this? I'll tell you. It's a rhetorical question, sorry. One of the things we assume is that these leaders know that there is a need, and we just need to convince them. Now, I have to tell you, because I'm a mobilizer, first and foremost. That's how I started, and whatever it is, so Bible translation for us, missions, partnering, collaboration, that I want to persuade people and use reason for it, but I assume sometimes that people already understand that this is a need, right? So maybe they don't even understand what the need is yet. Because what we tend to do when we mobilize people and we try to convince them is that we want to offer solutions, but we don't know what questions they're asking. And I tell you this is my own experience, a mobilizer. So I'm in Nicaragua, this is years ago with Comibam, and we spent the whole week mobilizing pastors. And we were sharing about how many people groups with that God's Word, how many people who haven't been reached with the gospel, the statistics. I don't know if you remember perspectives. We use World A, World B, World C, all that. And the pastor asked me, he said, I want to know why I'm supposed to do this. And I said, why do you ask that question? He said, well, you're here this week, but last week we had the people from the local orphanage. The week before we had the widows. Then before that we have the Salvation Army. Then we had the youth ministries, and all want something from us. So you're just one more person who's trying to convince me that your cause is more important than the others. Right? So just a word, so everything that you said was absolutely right. Don't get me wrong. I agree, and I would say the same things. But I'm trying to get us to the reflection of when we talk to pastors or people, that we want to convince them. First, do we know where they are at, what their concerns and their needs might be? Okay, so did we take the time to understand and to listen? And this ties a little bit with the session that I'll do later on the stages of partnerships. If they have been resistant to working together, why is that? And somebody mentioned, that one of the things that might be needed is to bring to the table things that happened in the past that may be the reason why. There may be some trust issues. I don't know. That's part of what we need to find out. Why are they resistant in the first place? And hammering them over the head with a Bible verse as to why they should work together is possibly the worst way to convince people. All right. So let's go back to the exercise, but this time I'll ask you a very specific question. So this is your question for you. You're going to make your case to this group of leaders as to why partnering is important, why they should work together. So what do you think would be the most effective in overcoming their resistance and helping them understand how working together can benefit their ministries? What would be an effective way of communicating this to them? I'll leave the question up there. So I'll give you about 10 minutes to talk through this, and then we're going to hear one answer from each table. All tables are going to share at least one thing. Any questions?
Just one question. So what I want people to partner about, that's how I am answering this question? Or
No, more generic. So partnering, why is partnering important? Why they should be working together as a church? I mean, the church leaders get together once a month and they want to reach their city. But they're doing it kind of on their own. They just come together, for fellowship. But you and others want to tell them, you should work together. And so the question is, why should we work together? How do you make your case to them that working together is important? How many of you have been in a situation like that? Have you? Were you in a situation like that where you have to kind of convince people that working together is better than on their own? You have children? That's just kidding. No, okay. So this is actually an exercise from a real situation. We were in a situation in Uganda a few years ago when the leaders of all the denominations and the evangelical churches came together, and they were talking about how to transform and impact their country. And so we had to come there and help them understand why working together is important, why they should do it. So, all right, go to it. I'll kind of give you some warnings in the time, but you have about 10 minutes. The whole table, not just the small groups.
I think me and church talk about whenever you go to die, we're all here a prayer. It would be good to really start with so I was with the gospel group church. And what we first do, and then obviously see people.
I think sometimes there's
How will it best help your church? Right? And all of a sudden they're like, oh, you're listening to me, what I want, and what our church is valuing. And all of a sudden you're drawing yourself you as
Later, when they come together as groups, would you mind being the scribe? Just putting things in. Flip chart for me? Call her. Yeah, I'll get it. Don't worry about it.
You can find the marker.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
We left her out the last two. There's a lot of wisdom.
Other one would take business management.
The church gives minutes.
Somebody will take
Sometimes that's easier said than done. And I think that a lot of situations, this is my
What are the areas that you
Some put it up in the street, just trying to move.
and how?
And some of us have a lot of stories and we're going to see what that's going
Just offer it and say, people come in. People find that.
You want to hear see from them that they will have.
I'm in a church with a very strong mercy gift. I am not a mercy person. So, the church has a very strong mercy gift. That's part of the mission.
Well, she was talking about the mercy. Yes. That's what people don't want to do. They don't want
Hi.
You okay? It's about 9:30ish.
Sorry?
At 9:30, we're going to switch into kind of a panel time.
Okay.
Is that going to work for you? Give or take a few?
9:30. Yeah, I mean, gonna have to cut some of this short, but the session was originally 90 minutes anyway, so. Okay, so we'll probably let them finish this conversation and just debrief and then wrap up.
Well, but you could put some more points.
Yeah,
There's time for it.
there's time, but just one trying to plan so I don't go over too much. Thank you.
At least they had a trust relationship with you.
But maybe having
So this example that Melinda shared is bringing a person that has had success in order to give a model for the resistant group to see that their vision can be overcome through somebody that has been successful. So I work with half-timers, people that have achieved success and are moving from success to success. Bob uses half-time. Incredible impact. Major investors in movements, people that give 7 and 8 figures to move. And we use John 15:16 to my Bible translation movement. So what's happening in my realm, disciple-making movements, Bible translation, Christian stewardship, and church planting, or moral. All these movements are merging together. But I work with leaders of movements investing in it. And we say, let's just focus on John 15:16. What's the fruit that's remaining in your movement? Because I'm in my last season of life at 50 years. I really believe that until I'm 94, I'm going to be doing what I'm doing. I'm one of the people that achieve that significance in whatever realm, and they want to leave a legacy. They want to. So what is the just remaining in the ministry, and let them share about aspirations. It's the same thing where vision, there's something vision, what's the impediment? You tell me that I want to be thinking about.
Take another 5 minutes.
Last night, I'm in prayer, and prayer almost always is the missing. And one prayer is implemented in a communal way. Katie brought the door. What God can do. Anyway, that's how we say.
Would be most effective in overcoming the leaders' resistance to working together and helping them understand how working together could benefit their ministries. So let's hear, what we'll do is the following, because I'm sure you said many different things, but so that everybody gets a chance, each table can share one thing, and we'll go around, and then if there's something else and you want to say another thing, we'll go back as time permits, and then we'll have a little bit of conversation, all of us. Okay? So who wants to go first? Which table?
We can start.
Okay, go ahead.
It boils down basically to asking good questions. If we go through, I mean, there's lots of themes that went off of that, but I think that would be figuring out, so what's their vision? What are their walls that they're hitting? You know, what are the things that they would love to see happen but don't? And in that way, how could partnership help?
So asking good questions, and you shared a few of those examples of good questions. Great, that's Timo, we're going to just kind of summarize those points so we can keep it there for reference later.
Ours ties on to that.
Okay, go ahead.
Ours is to be able to listen to what their needs are and be able to effectively listen to where they feel valued in that.
Yeah, those go together,
Yeah.
right? So you don't just ask the questions, but you actually listen to the answers. Yes, yes. Good communication skills. Yeah. Let me tell you what you need, yes. Okay, thank you. How about you guys back there?
Okay, we were just thinking that the question is a very tricky question. It's just not, as you said, if I go as a networker, I go with a platform of prayer. The other side comes with a platform of justice, another with disciple making. So how to make, if I'm a local, if you're asking me as a local pastor, I think this is a networking group. If you ask a local pastor, it's a totally a different question. The pastors are really confused to what to take on the platter.
Yeah. So this is not a networking group. This is a group of pastors and leaders.
So if you're
Yeah.
talking to I'm saying this group.
Oh, right. Okay, gotcha.
So if you're talking to a pastor, the local pastor will be, actually he doesn't know the clue unless we have a good relationship. So one of the things I think that we need to do is build relationship between the
Thank you.
relational networking. So
Very
it
good.
the agenda doesn't go in the first meeting. It has to go prior 1 year before that.
And how many of us, that's a great point, thank you. How many of us, and I include myself here, have committed the sin of arrogance that we think our cause is so important and our brochures are so pretty, and how could you not? And so you want to convince people the first meeting you're telling them what to do, right? Very good. Thank you.
Can I convince you of my cause right now?
Yes, you can.
Second of the day.
It's not your table's turn.
Okay. How about you guys over there? Build relationships. Yeah. Invest time in building relationships and trust.
One thing we said was giving people different ways of partnering, but it doesn't have to all look the same, but it could be partnership.
So presenting a bigger picture of partnering, not just one way.
And also, if you need to exit, that would be allowed with grace, that
Okay.
people do not feel manipulated or.
Just curious, I don't know if you got to talk about this, but what would you do to present all these options to them? Or all these, you didn't talk about that. What do you think, personally? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I am curious.
To me, that would come in with the listening and the asking good questions, so that as you figure out what people's needs are, their fears, all those things, then you are kind of tailoring what partnership could look like. I think maybe you have to have some parameters around, like kind of the least amount of engagement. I haven't really thought about it, but there would probably have to be like, okay, this is kind of the minimal level that we need, and if not, then maybe this isn't for you.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Good thoughts, yes, thank you. So, I mean, it goes back to some of the things that were already said too. It's asking good questions, listening to the answers, but you take it one step forward with almost like coaching them and how they would go about partnering instead of giving them, this is the only way. Okay, that's great. Okay, how about you guys over here? You were very loud. I'm just kidding. Now they're quiet. just one idea of the many ideas that I'm sure you shared in that table. Do you want me to come back? Oh.
Well, we did talk about the fact of bouncing off of what he had said the other night about the fact that I am more interested in you succeeding as much as I am about my own success. Then you're going to buy in because you really care about me and what I'm doing rather than it's one more thing we're adding to your agenda. Don't you think you could fit this in?
So one thing that you think would be effective is to show that you're interested in their success, not just in yours. Okay, so that's part of being a good partner, right? Okay, the last table over here.
With the way that many of us are wired, we're like big vision, big strategy people, and so we tend to want to go big and think that is an effective way to excite people, but sometimes we overlook the mustard seed approach of starting small and seeing small proven successes that then can grow and are proof to others that there's something to this. It's not just words.
Yeah, but you know you're in Texas now, so mustard seeds here are the size of golf balls. So, no. Right? For those of you who don't know this, is saying that everything is big in Texas. Or bigger, right? Okay. Thank you. All right. So I think every table got to share. This is really good stuff, you guys. Thank you, Timo, for being our note taker. Okay, let's go back around and hear one more thing. If you have something, if you don't, that's okay. Just tell me we didn't have anything else. So let's start over here.
If there's any bad experiences with partnering,
Mm-hmm.
try to find ways to alleviate that.
So you're talking about relationship issues or?
Actions to alleviate that in the process.
Okay, so maybe seek reconciliation or help them seek reconciliation. Okay, so that would go before any partnering efforts.
Right.
Right, yeah. Excellent. Anyone else? Any other table? This is your chance.
I think we're in cases where there's those who've tried, that God has given a vision for something that's a collaborative effort, and they've cast that vision, but there's locked doors and resistance. Sometimes just radical obedience to what God told them in its fruit, in the face of that intransigent resistance, becomes a prophetic modeling.
Okay.
And something spiritually kind of changes when people observe what happened. And
That's
all of a
great.
sudden they want to be a part of it, and they realize that what that actually was of God. And
Yeah. Did you get that? Radical obedience. Would you summarize it in a phrase that he could put up there other than radical obedience?
I put the words in quotation marks, prophetic modeling, but I want to clarify that because where I've seen that, it's not we're going to set out to prophetically model this, and it's not a wagging finger.
So what is
just
it?
Being faithful, and then God does
Being
the
faithful.
change of heart.
Being faithful. Just can you put that there? I want to. I mean, this is excellent. I just wanted to make sure that you bring it down to our level, because it's very abstract. But it's because I think part of the problem we have sometimes that we don't want to have that consistent, faithful presence with them, and this prophetic modeling doesn't happen unless we actually take the time to be a faithful companion, partnership person who stays there and listens and then can watch what God is doing. But does that help? Being faithful. Okay. Anything else? All right, guys, this is good stuff.
Related to the,
Uh-huh.
I think somebody else had talked about like we have to know the history. So there's what are the things that are the spiritual chains? What are the things that are those hidden dynamics? And again, seen it where sometimes it just takes in a room just one leader in a posture of humility to confess something or to take that first step, and just the gates open, like something happens.
How would you
A
summarize?
posture of humility.
A posture of humility, even by one person, acknowledging even their own humility. A posture of humility. This is excellent. Thank you. Posture. Thank you. Sorry. All right. And I want to acknowledge, I don't know if it's been done, that many of us here are working, English is not our first language, maybe not even our second. So I know it can be hard to speak up in front of this big group, but we are all in the same boat here. So if you have an accent or you can't fully express everything you want in English the way that you do in your language, that's okay. Look around the room, right? So we're all in the same boat. This is a safe place to just do your best to express what you can, and we'll figure it out. Timo is Finnish, and I'm asking him to take notes in English, which is a very strange language, I have to say. I speak it, but it's a miracle. Okay, anyone else?
I think sometimes after all of this, right, there is compelling information or maybe stories or just facts that could help people see, yeah, we're not going to get that done. This is why we should partner. But I don't think that comes first, right?
Okay, so how would you summarize that?
Compelling facts or stories that would speak to the strength of partnership for the need.
One thing, I don't know if anyone's going to say it, but I'll add it here, that helps us to do your research before you. Do you know who you're going to talk to? What are the issues? I don't know about you, but if I want to know what's going on in my city here, Waxahachie, with the pastors, I know a couple of pastors here in the church, in the city, that I would go talk to first. So Pastor Bruce Zimmerman, pastor of Waxahachie Bible Church. You talk to him, he knows everybody, not only in the church, but in City Hall, in social clubs. He is the guy to know. And I run into him at Starbucks. The mayor is his friend. I go to a concert, and there is Pastor Bruce. So if I wanted to know, or I was invited to speak to the pastors of the city, I would go and spend some time in Bruce's office. So do your research, know if there are relationship issues or power dynamics. Just find out first what's going on. Or we can call it due diligence, is another way of saying it. But research. Okay. Anything else? Last chance.
I always like to start just praying together.
Come on. Finally. This is the fellowship of prayer strategists. Yes, thank you. That's awesome. Maybe it's so obvious that you're like, we don't need to say it, but yes. I love a few days ago, I met with Liz and Melinda, and after we had our meeting, they came here so they could pray over the facilities. Even though this is a Christian camp, Assemblies of God, hallelujah. But that would be part of that prayer, pray over the place, each of the people, understand the spiritual issues that are at stake. When the people of God say we want to transform the city, you know what happens because you guys are the front lines of intercession. You know what happens when you say we're going to fight evil in our city. What happens? Persecution, sickness, death. Conflicts between people start happening, right? You've never experienced this, right? Okay, this is great. So you know what I just did in the last hour? I modeled this for you guys. Did you hear me telling you the answer to why you should partner? Who gave you the answer? Together, right? Of course, like Brother Onassis said, if this is a group of local pastors, that might not work so well, but you already have a lot of the context. But what I'm saying, even in just 1 hour, we can come up with something really good together without me having to convince you. Okay, so I'm going to stop here because, well, mostly because Jenny told me to. But the next session I will do, we'll talk a little bit more about the mechanics of how partnerships work and some of the some things that will be useful for you, some concepts. Okay, all right. It's all yours, Jenny. Thank you, Timo.